Hi, it's John and welcome to Cycling on a Shoestring and welcome to my shop in my garage. I hope you're having a great time riding this spring, and this is going to be a little bit different for my videos, although I think it does fall into the cycling on a shoestring budget category that I like to kind of follow here when I'm on my channel. Welcome to two of my bikes as well. This is the ETSX 70 you may have seen recently from Rocky Mountain, 26-incher. And in behind, I've got my YT Jeffsy 29-incher. We're going to talk about these two bikes, and we're going to get a little bit philosophical, I think, about mountain biking in this video. The question is, why, John? Why would you buy a 26-inch mountain bike in this day and age? You may be riding 650B, 27.5, or 29-inch wheels these days. That's what people are purchasing. I mean, finding 26ers probably mostly in your local department store now, and they're not very good bikes. Well, I picked this up because I was feeling a little bit nostalgic. As I've gotten older, I started looking back on my early days of mountain biking. I started off on a fully rigid Diamondback, mid to late 1990s, got into hardtails, full suspension. As a matter of fact, when I came out here, I was riding a Kona King Kickapoo, which had 80 millimeters of travel front and back. Figured I needed a bigger bike. That's why I bought the YT. But I'm feeling nostalgic, and I've been riding this a lot lately. And I'll tell you, I've got some interesting things to say about this 26-incher. So I'm not going to do a retro review on the bike. Talk about it a little bit, compare these two bikes, and maybe we'll come up with the answer to the question, is bigger really better? Here I am in Fish Creek Park, and as I was riding over to the park today, I was thinking about a couple of things. Two things in particular. You know, the name of the video is Bigger Better, and I think that really has a lot to do with wheel size when it comes to mountain biking. Big thing over the last 20 years. 29 inches came in. We've got 27.5 as well. You've got fat bikes as well, which are big wheels. So wheel size is a big thing in mountain biking. But I think this video, even though it's called Is Bigger Better, also touches on a number of different things as well. It touches on components and it touches on cost. So we're going to touch on those things in this video because I think they're important when it comes to satisfaction while riding your bike. So think about that. I'm going to go for a ride around here. I'll talk to you a little bit more about this Rocky, how it felt to ride a 26er after a number of years riding big wheels, and then we'll come to a conclusion. Well, is bigger better? I think I really should discuss how I felt when I got on this bike for the very first time. You know, it's been a number of years since I've ridden a 26er, and it felt very weird, I have to say. Very weird. First of all, the length of the bike is so much smaller, and as I mentioned earlier, my YT is an extra large bike, and this is a large bike. But even so, even if it was, they were both large bikes. The smaller wheels make this bike a lot tighter, a lot smaller. It's got a steeper head angle on it as well. And you really feel like you're sitting over top of the back wheel. And when you're climbing on this bike, you feel like you've got more control going uphill. I do believe that. I think because it's a smaller wheel, you can get over the front end of this bike and lean over a little bit more. You get better tracking, and that steep head angle really helps. Now, it did feel weird, but I have to say, after about 10 minutes, I started smiling and it felt very familiar. The title of the video is Bigger Better, so let's talk about wheel size. Everything in the old days was 26-inch wheel like this. Now you can get 27.5s, also known as 650Bs or 29ers. And you know, I'm riding 29ers these days. Are they better than the 26s? Yes, they are definitely better. That big wheel circumference will roll over pretty much anything. And of course, when you're talking about wheel size, you got to talk about the rubber on the road. I'm running 2.1s on this. My YT has 2.4s, and that extra rubber, when you're riding down soft, loamy stuff or through rocks and whatnot,
really helps you, that extra footprint, and I really notice it on climbs, although this bike does climb very well. Now when it comes to other components, because that was another component of this video, let's talk about dropper seat posts. A lot of people have never ridden a seat post like this one right here, and they say, well, how the hell did you go down steep descents and how did you ride back in the old days, right? Well, what we used to do if we went to a bike park is we'd take the lift to the top and then we just open up our quick release and put the seat down and then ride down the mountain, and when we got back to the bottom, we would put it back up. There's something, though, I have to say, very retro and very comforting about going downhill on this bicycle when it's really steep and having that saddle basically on your stomach. You're basically laying with it on your stomach as you go down steep descents. The other thing to talk about is, of course, the drivetrain. Now, how many people would go back to a triple when they've been riding a one-by drivetrain on the more modern bikes these days? Again, it's a nostalgia thing for me. I don't have too many issues with it, but don't get me wrong, the one-by drivetrain is so much better. But again, the retro feel of this is fun, and I'm riding on my road bike now. I still ride with 2 chain rings on the front, although a lot of road bikes now are going to a one-by drivetrain. So big wheels, great. Dropper seat posts, fantastic. And that one-by drivetrain, definitely great improvements on bikes over the years. But is bigger still better? We still haven't come to the conclusion. So what else has my modern day bike got that this bike doesn't? Well, there's so many more things that are bigger on my other bike. I talked about wheels. I mean, the bars on this are 170 millimeters narrower than what I've got on my YT, and these are wide compared to what I used to ride in the past. I mean, bikes are beefier now, they're stronger, they're lighter but stronger. But let's face it, if you look back to the beginning of the last century, I'm talking 1900, bikes look a lot the same. There's 2 wheels, 2 triangles, handlebar, a seat, and you got some pedals on it, and off you go. So is bigger better? Well, we haven't made these changes in bikes to go back. Bigger wheels, yeah, they're better. If you look at professional downhill riders these days, almost every one of them's riding 29-inch wheels right now. If you go out on a mountain bike trail, you're going to see 27.5s, and you're going to see 29-inch wheels. You're going to see big suspension. 36 millimeters around, bigger than this. You're going to see tapered headsets on them. A great advancement for bikes. Makes it stiffer, makes it stronger, makes it better. But is bigger better? I don't know that that's the case. I think the bike you're riding is the one that's the best for you. You know, I made a mistake earlier in this video saying department store bikes aren't very good. Well, from a quality standpoint, compared to this bike right here, that is a correct thing to say. But if you're enjoying riding your bike no matter what it is, that's the most important thing. My point I think I can make out of this video is that you can find a lot of really great bikes out there and not have to spend a lot. And we go back to my whole reason for this YouTube channel, cycling on a shoestring budget. $600 for this bike. That's what I paid. It's got suspension, it's got wheels, it's a fun bike to ride. Yeah, it's not the latest technology, but I'm impressed by this bike, and I've been riding this more than I've been riding my newer bike because it's so much fun. So I guess the moral of the story is find a bike you like. Don't always go for the expensive stuff. Look on online marketplaces. People are trying to dump 26 inches everywhere, and there are good bikes out there, just like this Rocky Mountain ESTX 70 I picked up, which I'm having so much fun. Now, I guess there's only one more place we could go other than going to rigid bikes, and I'm not going to go back that far, but I guess there's only one more place I could go from this full suspension 2008 bike. But do we really want to go back that far?